Hello, 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 and welcome back. This is Coach Vic. This is Party of 40. Glad to have you back with us. I'm really excited about today. We're going to really get into some things. We're going to talk about the deep. I know we talked about the deep before and how the deep calls under deep and deep things, but today we're going to talk about in a different. We're going to talk about traversing or moving into deep, or launching into the deep, allowing yourself to move into a place where you can better. Maneuver, but also it gives you an opportunity to really just be able to move in ways you're not used to moving. Because where we're going now, the things that we're getting ready to get into now are not shallow places, it's deep places. It's places deep, where it's deep in your heart, where it's deep in your mind, where it's deep in your soul, or deep in your spirit. And so you have to continue to move in a way that allows you to be fluid, like water in those particular circumstances and situations. And so you have to begin to get into a better grasp of inner you, of outer you, and then of the outermost you, so that you can begin to really move the way you want to move. I talked about three parts of man: the outermost man, the inner man, which is your soul, and then the innermost, then the I'm sorry, the outer man, which is the soul, and then the inner man, which is the spirit, and that's according to Watchman Nee. If you have read any of his books, really good series of books called Breaking Your Spirit, The Release of the Spirit, which is talking about allowing you to be able to engage with people from a deeper standpoint of more than just being superficial conversation, but being able to engage on a level where you know yourself, to the greatest parts of you, to the more innermost parts of you, where you're able to release those parts of you to others around you. And so I want to discuss it from this standpoint from 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 7 says like this: But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. And what that means to me is that there's something stored up inside of me. There's a treasure inside of me that's stored up inside of me that is waiting to be released. But I don't have the key to this treasure. And the key to this treasure for me is seeking out who I am as an individual, and also where I am in context to my role in the universe, to my role on earth, to my role in the spiritual realm, to my role in things that are going on around me. And when I began to discover all these things, and I began to put these things together, that culminates in me being able to now get open this treasure box inside of me and release what's inside of me, so others can enjoy the benefit and the fruit thereof. And because it's not of my power, because it's not something that I've done on my own, the power and the glory of it belong to God. This is how we have to look at these things. We have to look at it from a standpoint of the power of who we are. It's not the wisdom that we have, the knowledge that we attain, the opportunities that we come across. All those things happen not just because we're lucky or because of our circumstance or by chance, but because we begin to walk down a road where we begin to understand exactly who we are, and we begin to move in a way where we're able now to connect with all of the different sources of light that are around us, and allows us an opportunity now to be able to receive light, but also to protrude light from us. And this is the thing that we have to remember and understand. And so when we're talking about the deep means that we're going to first discover the treasure box. We have to first discover where it is. We have to discover where it is, and then we have to discover what the contents are. And we begin to move, and we begin to relate to others around us. When we begin to have a conversation, we begin to make relationships. The Bible says that corrupt communications cause bad manners. And so what that means is basically, the people that you hang around with are going to influence your behavior. They're going to influence your thought processes. They're going to influence your thought pattern. They're going to influence everything about you, but in little subtle ways. And so, if you're not careful, if you start to pick the wrong crowd, and you let the wrong people to start to connect to you or come around you, then you're going to end up finding yourself, walking in a negative, in a negative balance of who you really are. And so there's this thing where we're walking either in context with who we are, or out of context with who we are. And ultimately, what happens with that particular situation is that because you're walking out of context, you leave yourself open because being in context, there's protections around you. There's certain things that protect you from things going on around you. But when you're out of context of who you are, when you're out of character of who you are, when you're walking, when you're not recognizable with who you are, then you're walking out of context of who you are, and so you're open to all of the things going on around you, and so now you become more of an emotional man, an emotional being, more so than a spiritual or a spiritual or a light being. And because you're emotional, individuals will be able to do everything they can do to begin to pick at and pluck at your emotions to make you react to everything going on around you. But when you when you're walking in your trueness of who you are, your true light, so to speak, then you begin it's not the emotions are there, but the light gives truth to the emotion. And so when you have emotion and you have truth, you're able to respond in a much different manner than when you're trying to walk in something and walk purely in the power of just your own of just you. Um, Without making contact of your whole higher self, being in context with who you are. And so, from that standpoint, from finding your 40, I know we haven't connected in quite some time. We're taking some time away. I take a step back and really begin to get back into the cave and the lab and really begin to understand more about what I wanted to do for myself and where I was going and where I wanted to take you at the same time, because we're on this journey. And we can't just get in the car and start driving and then arrive at a destination and say we're here, because that's not the purpose of the program. The purpose of the program is for us to get into the car, take the journey, but have a preset destination where we're going to go, and then there's going to be little stops and turns and little tips and travels along the way. We're gonna run into some roadblocks. We might run into some traffic. We might run into some U-turns. We have to make some U-turns or make a left or detour or what have you. But at the same time, ultimately, the purpose of this program is to get you to the end of which is the goal actualization process, which is your self actualization process, where you begin to discover more about who you are, and you begin to walk in the power in that power of that higher you, and not in the power of the lower you. And as we're going through the course of the program, we're going through the day, and we begin to gain more and more understanding about what we're doing. I want you to really begin to think about the deep. Think about where you want to go. Think about what you want to do. Think about what it requires for you to continue to dig into the depths of who you are. Dig into the depths of your soul. Dig into the depths of your emotions. Dig into the depths of your being, and begin to understand what this earth and vessel really is, and how you can discover more about yourself. Because the more you discover about yourself, the more you understand about you, the more you're able to step to the table, step to the plate, and meet all the requirements of the environment around you. The environment around you is we talked about the redwoods, and we talked about how the redwood takes from the environment, takes from the ecosystem, and sucks in all the nutrients so it can continue to grow. But the roots are two-way system, because so that when it's receiving sunlight, when it's receiving rain, when it's receiving the dew, when it's receiving all of the nutrients from the air, it is able now to replenish its ecosystem through its two-way root system. And this is where we want to. This is where we want to be. This is what we have an expectation for us to be, so that we can continue to walk in the greatness of ourselves, so we can continue to grow and manifest more and more each day of who we're supposed to be. And if you get opportunities to take a look at, to listen to the audiobook of The Alchemist, or read The Alchemist. It's a really good book. It's really insightful, and it helps you to really have an understanding about how to walk, how to begin to walk into your trueness of who you are. and the expectation, but it also gives you some lessons in that when you have a desire or a drive or a goal for something, it eats at you until you and you can't put it away. And so the whole point of our program, the whole point of Under the Authority is that when you have that drive, when you have that desire, we were trying to give you some direction. We're trying to put you on the road and give you and help you to understand how to move from having a desire or a goal or an idea about something, move to the end part where you're actually functioning in that role. And this is the thing that we really want you to understand. This is the same thing when you go to college. It's the same thing. You go to college, you enroll, you don't know what your major is, but at some point during the course of your matriculation at college, you pick your major, you go to all your classes, and then you graduate. And at graduation, you expect to walk into your career. And this is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to get you to graduate from where you are, from where you are, from whatever the trauma was, whatever the circumstance was, whatever the situation was, whatever it was that harmed you, that hurt you, that might have damaged you, to get to that place of where you're not just functional, but you are actually walking in a superior version of yourself. And this is. It's really important for us to begin to know who we are and begin to actualize ourselves from that standpoint, and then begin to take step by step and begin to move it more and more into the place we want to be, into the person we want to be, and begin to have a dynamic or an opportunity to touch other people along the way. Because ultimately, we're doing this not just for ourselves, but we're doing this because we're trying to replenish our ecosystem with healthy trees. We want to continue to keep everything around us healthy because we're going to continue to grow and be healthy, in who we are too. And so today, we're talking about the deep. We're digging deep. We talked about the buildings and the towers and how the deeper you dig, the higher you can build. And we talked about the launching out into the deep. When Jesus tells Peter to launch out into the deep to catch a bigger fish, and so we have to understand that as we're going through these processes, as we're beginning into the places of our deep spaces of who we are, as we begin to uncover things that we didn't know that we had, didn't know we were able to use, we didn't have the abilities that we had and understanding that we had about ourselves, we begin to know more about who we are, and then we can begin to express ourselves differently. We can begin to have a better in a granular experience with other people, and we're able to talk to them in ways that we hadn't expressed before. And so as we're going through the process, as you're going through the deep today, take an opportunity to really begin to look in your earthen vessel, and say, okay, hey, what is it that I have in here in me that I have not released? Because the more you're able to release these things on the inside, the better your ecosystem grows, the better your environment becomes, the more it comes back to you. And so it's a cause and effect relationship. The more you can release, the more you can receive. The more you can release, the more you can receive. It's like when you have a drink in your cup. If your cup is full and the waiter comes by, the waiter skips your cup because your cup is full. But if you drink your cup, if you drink what's in your cup, and the waiter comes by, the waiter is going to add to your cup because your cup is empty. And so this you took it in, and now that you're taking it in, that you're able to be refilled. And as you're taking in the cup, you're able to now have conversation. You're able to now because things are on the inside are parched, or you might be thirsty, or you might your throat might be dry, but because now you've taken that drink, that drink, you're able now to have conversation and entertain others around you because you're no longer parched, you're no longer thirsty, you're no longer dry. And this is what I want you to understand about the deep. The deep allows you to fill all the dry places, and then you begin to refill all the other storages, and then you're able to get to your earthen treasure, and then you're able to release that treasure to others. And so Today, this is Coach Vic. This is Final Year 40. Thank you guys for sharing, for sharing, for like, sharing, and subscribing to the videos. Thank you guys for the emails you guys have been sending. Thank you for everything you guys do to keep the channel healthy and growing. And we're almost at 2,000 subscribers. Well, thank you guys for continuing to subscribe and share the channel with others. And if there's anything I can do, please send me an email. That's coach.vic@yahoo.com. Leave a message or a comment in the section below, and know that I'm here with you. And this is the deep. We're gonna replenish, we're gonna restore, and then we're gonna be able to pour out onto others from our deep, from our earthen treasure. So have a good day. God bless you. Enjoy your day, and it's Coach Vic, and I'm out.